new roads. Today I'm going to be talking about the installation of the new Torque air suspension kit. Sit back, grab a cup of coffee, and enjoy what I have to present to you. I think you're going to find it a fantastic product. Okay, hey guys, just doing a little pre-assembly here. Started out, I got one on already, but I'm going to show you this from start to finish. These are the parts that come with your unit. You have a center bolt, goes right in the bottom here. You have a nut, goes on the top with a washer. Then you got some mounting bolts here. Mount your main bracket. These are right here. You got some mounting bolts, and then you have your inlet that goes right on top of here. I did the first one, did it by the directions. I got a couple of shortcuts that might help you a little bit. Otherwise, it's a very simple. Oops, let me open this up a little bit. There. Otherwise, it's a very simple operation. It's not bad at all. If you're good with, you need a ratchet, a torque. And that's about it. You need a 14-inch wrench, and everything else is pretty straightforward. This is your actual air support system here. That's the actual system. You have a bottom bracket, and this sits right on top of your axle, kind of like so. And you have two bottom brackets depending on your style of vehicle. Where you have to mount it. Some mount directly to the axle, some may mount to the springs. I don't have the spring one, so I don't have to use these. Being that mine goes to the axle, this fits perfect in my 3500 axle. And then there's a brace that goes from the bottom bracket right through. You tighten it down, done deal. It's pretty cool. So, that being said, and this is the top bracket, and this mounts up underneath to where your bumpers are. I took a bumper off so you can see it. Now, this is your bumper. You have two bolts that hold this together. Excuse me. And these come out pretty easy. I think it's a 9/16 or 5/8. Sorry. It's a 9/16 or 5/8. Unscrew those, and they're not torqued down very tight, so you can do it with just a socket wrench, and it comes right out, no problem. Once you get that out, then the other part is pretty easy. I did a lot of prep for the other one, so I'm going to show you some of the prep that I did. You have your valves that mount to the top of this. To ensure that I don't get leakage, what I'm going to do is just take a little bit of tape. This is Piper's piping tape. And just take like two, that's one round there. Just like two good rounds is more than enough to make sure that you get a good seal. So that's one of the prep things that I do, or that I did on the other one. Worked out really well, and it went right in, no problems. The other thing was, on the first one, you have these two bolts here, which mount up into the bracket where your bumper came off. And I went ahead and mounted the bracket first, then I came back, mounted this in on top of that. I think this time what I'm going to do is go ahead and mount this in. Now, you see, just making sure everything looks good here. There we go. Okay, so there's this alignment hole that you have to put it in the right one so it lines up with the axle. And so you might have to move it forward or backwards doing that. One of the things that you can do is go ahead, mount your fitting in, get it tightened down, then take your screw and your washer, put it on, but don't tighten it all the way up. Just tighten it partially. Once you do that, you can lift this up, rotate it where you need to, put your screw in, then rotate it again, put your screw in, tighten them down, and then you can bring it into place where it needs to be. and then tighten down the top bolt. And that saves a lot of wrenching underneath the vehicle. It'll save quite a bit. The only thing that you'll have to tighten down then is just the one bolt versus two. So it'll save you about a step or two by doing that. So I'm going to try that. I'll let you know how it works. I'm also doing the hardest side of the vehicle, which requires the heat shield. The heat shield will go in place like so. This goes on top, and that's the only reason why I'm doing this, is to help with the heat shield. Because once you get that in place, you can rotate the heat shield wherever you need it to be for the exhaust pipe. And your exhaust pipe comes right out on the right-hand side here. So that's the other part to that. Okay, so I'm going to go underneath. I'm going to show you how we take off the bumper, which is really easy. And then we'll go underneath and we'll get this all mounted up. What do you say? Cool. All right. Hello there. All right, what we're going to do is go ahead and do some of the prep work as we talked about before. So one of the things we want to do is we have a bottom bracket that has to go in. And with the bottom bracket, it talks about putting the wide side towards the spring. What they mean by that, these actually measure out to be the same. What they're talking about is where you mount it with this hole. And what you want is to have it offset like so. And you can see on this side it's underneath. So it pushes the whole thing away from the spring. So it's not, the spring's not rubbing against this when it's inflated or you got a load. If you move it over this way and mount it, now this is going to be right next to the spring. It's going to rub against this and you can puncture it, blow it out, you lose all your carrying capacity. So you want to mount it to the outside like so, and then get your alignment for your top brace, and then everything goes together. So we're going to go ahead and do that right now. Your bracket like so, and then so we have, and I'll hold this up for you here. So we have this side, which is going to be facing the other side of the truck, and then we have this, which should be lined up with the front, and then your brace. So you have your mounting holes here, which go up into the frame, tighten it down, then we'll tighten this down, and then you have the heat shield. Okay, so we're going to do that, and then we're going to take our plug, which we prepped a little bit ago with the tape, and all you need is like maybe two things to go on there. And then we're going to take that and we're going to put it in the top just like so. And we're going to go ahead and get that set. Now these are swivels, so they do move around, which is nice. So you don't have to worry about actually tightening it to a specific spot, because it will move around for you. Okay, and then this is a 14. So we get a 14 wrench, and then we will go ahead and tighten this down and get this done. Underneath the frame is a little tight, and this on my other side it did bump up against the deal. You can hear the air coming in and out. Okay, so now what we're going to do is mount the whole assembly like we did before. This is the shortcut way. You can do it individual parts if you like. I just figured this would make it easier. So we're going to take this whole thing like so, bring it up onto the axle, and believe it or not, my truck is not jacked up at all. So I'm just going to set this up here like this. Remember, the wide side goes towards the leaf spring, short side goes over here, and that's because you want to have this shifted away from the spring. You don't want that spring rubbing against it. You have your heat shield. Go ahead and rotate that around to where I need it to be, like so. And then we're gonna rotate this in place. I'm gonna grab one of my bolts here, and we're gonna put this in. Oops, wrong bolt. I need this one. So I got this one right here. Gonna line that up like so. And this is where it's kind of cool. You left that extra space on that big nut. So you can do this right here. Got it started in. Examundo. Then check to make sure your other bolt lines up. And then once you get them in, then you can rotate it where you need it to be. So that's one. And then on the back side, there's another one. And I'll bring the camera around and you can see why I left everything loose. So you can rotate this in a place where you need to be. Okay, so you bring this around so you can see here. Let me flip. Oop, there. Okay. So if you look right here, there we go. You can see where I put one bolt in, and then that's the second one over there. And that way I rotated this where I needed it to be so I could get to those screws. Once I tighten those up, then I'll rotate it back, lock it in place to the set screws, and then I'm halfway home. Yay. Okay, so I'm now underneath, and you can see here, and I've got some still photos that I will add, but I got that added in, and on the other side you can see the old stock bumper, and I'm going to take that one off next. I got a heat shield to put on, which is great, help keep the heat off of it, and life will be good. Okay, here we go. Now, hi, I'm back. Hello. Okay, so what we're going to do now, we got our screws, got a bracket, but before we even mess with those, we're going to go in with our 14 underneath, tighten that down. It's a little tedious, but it works. And then we'll come back and I'll show you how to put the bracket on. All right, so we're going to come up in here like so, and we're going to tighten this down. Once again, just snug. You don't have to like crank on it. If you need to, you can lift up on this a little bit so you can see what you're doing. That's why it's good not to put air in it, because you can manipulate it where you need it to be. Okay, now it's getting tight. So remember, only about 30 pounds pressure. You don't have to crank on these. You want it nice and snug. Okay, we get that snug, and that's now falling right where we need it to be. Let's see. Okay. Put that in there and pull it down, and it'll be good. Okay, so now what we got to do? We'll grab a bracket bar. We'll grab the top. This goes over it, and there's a little groove right here, and it slides right in that groove. So you take this up and over the top like so, slide it down the axle, and you'll feel it. It'll just slide right in the groove nicely. You can play around with it a little bit, but yeah, it slides in there really nice. Okay, so then get that. Then this square on the top part of the axle, which is great. And then take this, and we have our two screws, and they go underneath. Now it says put a washer with these, but you don't have to. These are flanged, as you can see. Oops, as you can see. So you can just put these on. These are squeeze nuts, so they won't loosen up once you tighten them up, which is nice. I got a 14-inch socket. I'll bring them up almost all the way, and then I use the wrench to finish it off.
So this goes underneath like so. And then we take our screws. All right, so we got those on. Nice. So now what we're gonna do is I'm gonna grab my socket wrench and throw my 14 on. Now, if you have a deep well 14, that'd be beautiful because you can just take it right all the way up to the top. Let me bring this down a little bit. There we go. Yeah, if you have a 14, you can bring it all the way in. If you have a deep well, but I just have a regular one. And this works pretty good. It gets it most of the way up. So get on it like this and just start turning. Now you do want to make sure that these are equal. So once you bottom it out, bring that other side up so that way it's nice and even and straight. Okay, we got it. So that's it. Everything is in. This is nice and snug and tight. You can even feel how sturdy this thing is. It's not wobbly or anything like that. It doesn't have any air in it right now, which is fine. We're gonna connect up the tubes, bring it to the back end, show you a great place where you can put your air inlet. It comes with 2 inlets, so you can actually do these individually. So if you have an uneven load, you can put like 30 in one side, 40 in the other, to kind of level out your truck. I'm just toying my 5th wheel, so the load is pretty even, pretty level. So I'm just going to use 1 valve on the rear. I'm going to come back later, put a meter on it with a gauge, and run some power. And underneath here, there's a lot of space that you can mount a nice small compressor that will operate nothing but the suspension, so you can let it up and down. So that's where we're at. Life is good. Thank you.
I put in my air suspension system today, and I did it a couple of days ago. I did half of it, and now I'm running the lines. And I thought about just maybe showing you how I put in the bags themselves, but I'm going to show you how I ran the lines, maybe give you some ideas on how you can do yours. I'm not a professional installer, so be careful how you do this. But with that being said, let me show you this. So if you look here, there is a cap that goes in that spot. I just popped it off really easy. My plan is to take the cap and put a hole in it and either mount my gauge or mount my air supply valve. And then I'm going to apply a second hole, and then vice versa, whichever one I decide to do. Now, this is really easy to actually push the air lines through, and I'll show you what I did underneath the truck. Okay guys, I'm down underneath the truck here, and what I'm going to show you here is that's that hole where the cap goes. There's my finger right up there, and then my air line is coming out. And I made it nice, big, and loopy. Try not to make any 90-degree turns with the airline because you can crack it, or you can snag it, and then it won't even supply any air. But what I did was kept it nice and loopy. I went up and over the frame. That way I don't have to worry about it catching on any components down here. From there, I went back and around the spring. Now I went on the top part of it to make sure that it doesn't get caught in the spring itself when the truck is moving up and down. And then I came down and along the beam, along with this line here, which I'm going to actually zip tie it to, and then straight into the valve, which
Once again, nice big loop. You can see the nice big loop over here. Where's my finger? Oh, there's my finger. Okay, so you can see the nice big loop that I made, so it's not 90 degrees. It's nice and loopy, air flows. A little bit of play, so when the truck goes up and down, it has some room to play with. And then right into the valve. Make sure that your ends are clean when you insert that. If they're not clean, it's not gonna go. I use the X-Acto knife, or I'm sorry, I just use the regular box cutter knife, and it worked great for cutting the ends. Just make sure they're nice and straight and clean, and then it slides right in. So now what I'm getting ready to do, I'm working on this side. And you can see where I brought it in and up over the frame again. I'm going to come right down this beam, and then I'm going to go right into that one. And then my airlines will be in, and I'll be all set to go. Okay, so let's see here. Now, I'm going to go along the top side here of that other spring, just like on the other side. There's a cable here too, which I could probably attach this to, and wouldn't have a problem. Oh, this is going to be great. Oh, absolutely beautiful, beautiful. Yep. Tie it there. So, one of the things I did was I put a piece of tape on the end so no dirt or anything gets into the line while I'm trying to run it here. And it's just take a small piece, you don't need a large piece. And then just get that off. Now I'm going to try to get it off. Let's see here. Oh, there's the end. There we go. Get that off. And now we're just going to take this, rotate a valve around. So go up on top here and rotate that valve around. Where's the valve? Ouch! And I put it in. Oh, maybe something. Oh, it's right here. Where are you? Oh, there you are, little booger. Okay, so the valve's right there. I did put tape on top of that, so no dirt or debris once again gets inside of it. So now we're gonna take that off. Sweet. There we go. We got that off. Nice. Well, let's get it angled. Yep, it's free. So we're going to take the end of this. We're going to slide it right up into the valve. Once again, remember, nice, big, and loopy. And then we're going to just insert it in, and I'm actually doing this blind right now. And when you're putting it in, you have to wiggle it a little bit because there's an internal metal piece that slides in place, actually. And then once that's in place, it slides in pretty easy. There it goes. And then give it a nice push, nice final push in there. You feel it kind of grab. When you feel it grab, then pull backwards on it to make sure that it's secure. And you can tug on it pretty good. You don't have to grab it like a rope, but just a nice good tug. Make sure that it's secure. And now we're all good. So now what I'm going to do the same thing I did on the other side. Nice big loop. Secure it in a couple of places. And we're going to be all good to go. Awesome. Okay, so I went up and over. You can see right here, I went up and over, and then I secured it back here, secured it up here, and and then it goes around the frame. Now, something that's interesting, and I'll show you up on top. So one of the things that's interesting, they only give you like 6 or 8 of these things. And believe it or not, I used 6 or 7, and I've got 1 left over, which is kind of cool. But you might have to buy a small package of these just in case if you want to secure your lines a little bit better. But I think mine are pretty secure. I got them locked down in like 3 places on each side, and then it's coming out the back side here. So now I'm going to finish up mounting my gauge and mounting my airline, and we get to test it out. Yeah. So this is what I decided to do. I was going to drill a hole down in the bottom part of the bumper, mount this in, but it's pretty thick, and I was afraid that I would not have enough for the threads. But then I started looking at this, and I said, well, wait a second, I've got room here. And what I did was I made 2 holes. I do actually have 3 where I did my first one, but I said, wait, I can put 1 here, snap the whole thing in, and everything's ready to accessible. So this is what I came up with. It looks really good. I'm gonna go ahead and mount this up, and then I'm gonna put some plumbing tape on the back of this to make sure that I have a good seal. And then all I gotta do is take this, pop it in, and plug her up, and we should be good to go. So nice little option. It's already on the truck. Just drill your holes, and you can pretty much use the ones that they have, but I would go off center towards the top and the bottom, so so it fits. So looks good. Let's see what happens. So I got my system together here. I let the tire down so I could have more room to work, and as you can see, I've got everything in. These are my 2 lines coming in from each side. Oops, sorry, from each side. One from this side and one from the other side. This comes down into a T. So then I branched off again, so I would have 1 for my valve and 1 for my my gauge, which I'll show you this out here. So there's my gauge. So I have my gauge. Oops, let me focus a little bit here. There we go. So I have my inlet here, and then that's my gauge, and all set. And what's really nice too, I didn't have to drill any holes in this. Just pop this little protector out. I drilled 2 holes in it, and it works great. So I'm very happy with it. You can see my suspensions are up, and I'm going to drive around on them, and hopefully taking a trip in about 2 weeks, and I'll let you know how everything works out. Hello, and welcome to New Roads. I am on the road again, headed to Minnesota, and I got my RV, and we've been cruising for about 5 hours here now, and the trip has been going fantastic. I got a new truck, Dodge 3500, but I got the short bed, a 2021, so I upgraded by 7 years. The truck has been operating phenomenal. I just did an oil change on it, pretty much the same thing, same filters, same fuel filter in the front, different oil filter in the back for the 2021s. So I did have to get that, but it was pretty straightforward and simple, not a big deal. One of the things that I did add, I have a slider hitch now, and I got that from Mopar. Loaded that onto my standard hitch that I already have, which was a Kurt, and they work phenomenally together. I am impressed with the quality. I'm impressed with the ease of how it operates. Oh my gosh, it's great. I love my slide hitch. Absolutely love it. But something else I added since my last trip, I put on air support system. And what was happening with my RV, and this is a short bed truck versus my dually that I used to have, the back end is kind of down a little bit, about maybe 2 to 3 inches. And whenever I would hit bumps, I would get the jerking stuff going on, and I did not like that. the truck tows just fine. I'm doing 10.5 miles to the gallon right now, going through Georgia. The gas mileage is just great with this thing, and that's been mostly on cruise control, which has been awesome too. But I get the jerky motion, so I was suggested to put on air suspension. So I purchased an air suspension system from Torque. Torque makes a lot of the air suspension systems for your trailer trucks, and they're known worldwide. Anyhow, they're a very good product. I researched it, and I said, okay, let's give them a try and see what happens. And it's been incredible. There a huge difference. I first started out on my trip today with just 15 pounds of air in the back of this thing. And I noticed an immediate difference in the ride, the stability of the truck, everything. I just recently stopped for gas, and now I have added some more air. I'm at 35 pounds now, and my truck is level. And I can even feel it on the inside. My truck is level. And with that, in hitting bumps, I don't feel anything anymore. I don't get the jerky motion. Even with the 15 pounds, it was reduced so much less. I still got about 1,400 miles to go. I'm doing like 1,500 miles here in the next 4 or 5 days. So I will keep you abreast of what's going on. But good product. I'm going to put this on YouTube and tell Torque about their product and how great it is. They also have really good support. I was really impressed by their support. Not only did they respond to me by email, they also responded to me by text message, which was really, really cool. I sent them pictures of things that I had questions about, and I got responses immediately. And they were very helpful in helping me figure out my problems. My problem was I had a little leak. I didn't know where it was coming from. Well, it was coming right off of my gauge that I installed. And I just had to add a little bit more tape to the gauge, tightened it down, and problem solved. So really nice system. I like it. I got another 1,000 miles to go, right up 1,200 miles to go. So let's see what happens. But thank you for watching us here at New Roads. So there's the air suspension. Everything looks absolutely fantastic. Nothing's shifted, nothing's busted, everything is still secure. It's like wow. And they were so easy to put in. It was unbelievable. So I recommend Torques. I've got over 1,000 miles on these, and they are working just perfect, especially with the weight that I have on here. We'd like to thank you for coming and supporting us here at New Roads. You can also find us on Facebook, Gmail, and we're now on Twitter. We'd also like to thank Isaiah Fowler for all the graphics and music that was supplied. And we look forward to seeing you on your next New Roads.